Alright, so it's weigh day. We're down here just at a local sort of sports facility. Nice flat area, bigger space in a car park, best spot to weigh. We've got Rick from Vanway here. Rick, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so Rick, I'm Rick from Vanway. I run a business that specialises in weighing caravans and four-wheel drives.
Yeah.
And yeah, thoroughly enjoy it. I meet a lot of interesting people, and we sort of call ourselves as problem solvers, I guess.
Yeah. So your business, what is it? Does it just specialise in weighing vans and stuff like that, or?
Vans, caravans, four-wheel drives, motorhomes, boats, anything on trailers, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're in the Perth area and you're looking for someone to weigh your van, Rick's your man. So yeah, we're coming down here today to weigh the van. I personally think that we're going to be overweight, but we'll see how we go. Rick's got all the scales and everything, so we'll just crack into it.
Okay, the first stage of this process is to get all the compliance plate details off both the car and the caravan. I'll record those, and then when we do the actual weights, I then record that data into a computer program, and that prints out a report that shows you how much under or over you are.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so the compliance plate on the van car will be usually here. Yep, there it is there. Now, have you had any upgrades at all done to this?
Yeah, we got a 2-inch lift and airbags in the rear.
But not a suspension, legal suspension upgrade?
Not an engineered one. Yeah.
Yep, okay, so GVM is still 3450. That's what I've got. Okay, next on the van, so hiding in the front box there. Have you actually got kids in there?
3 kids.
You actually got 3 kids in there behind you?
Yeah.
How do you manage that? You must be a pretty cool mum.
Bribery.
So one thing that I've never really looked at is the GTM.
Yep.
What's the difference between that and the ATM?
Tow ball match.
Right.
GTM is the caravan whilst it's hooked up to the car,
Yeah.
which doesn't include the tow ball.
Right.
And ATM is the caravan including the tow ball.
Yeah.
Good exercise, keep your muscles fit.
Well, that's what our main concern was, safety and insurance. So.
Well, I regard ourselves as our business is mainly selling peace of mind.
Yeah.
But even if you find that you're overloaded, you now know by how much and what you might need to do to resolve the problem.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference tonight.
Yeah. Education.
Again, we know that the Eastern States authorities, which run their weights and measures all the way down the East Coast, they estimate that 68% of caravans are overloaded.
Yeah.
Right? In Western Australia, I don't know what the number is, but I do know there was a roadblock at the Manindia Roadhouse 6 months ago. They pulled over 22 vans and 12 needed tow trucks to tow them away.
Oh wow, yeah, that's huge.
So the numbers are much the same here as they are in the Eastern States.
Yeah.
Okay, so our scales are Bluetooth, which means that they're wireless between the scales pads down there. And this is the reader here, so I can sort of hold it up. You can see that it's got a range of different weights on it. So the first step is to put the customer's name in, and then we're doing the car first. And I'll zero the scales to make sure they're ready to go, and then we'll drive you on.
Sweet.
Do it. It's got to be in the car. Oh yeah, I'll get in.
So,
let's do that.
Get him to do that bit.
Moment of truth.
$3,624.
What was that weight? What was that GVM? I think it's over, isn't it? Yeah.
3450 is your allowed, and you're 3624. So that becomes more apparent when I do the printout and see exactly where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, you are overloaded. Because we found the car is overloaded, but exactly by how much and how it relates to everything we won't know until I do the full printout. So it's obvious it is overloaded, but by how much exactly we'll know once I do the full printout. Okay, so I zero my reader off now. I'll roll you on and record the weight. 3412 is.
The van is.
Why is, yep.
Oh, the van's under Al.
No, it's not.
No?
No.
I thought you said 341. Oh, because it's got to be 315.
3150 is illegal.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so no, it's under its ATM, but the ATM includes the table.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the next stage is to load the table.
Yep.
So we need to just move you off the scales, sit under your pitch, and we'll put the table scale under it and do that part.
No worries.
John, my advice to people when you find out your caravans are overloaded is get the bathroom scales out, put everything over the bathroom scales, do a spreadsheet. Must have, might need, don't need. Right? And try and move as much as you can into the don't need column and leave it at home.
Good
But
idea.
that will tell you exactly how many kilos you're taking out.
Yep.
So it's a really good process to go through.
Yeah, definitely.
Most people that have been camping and caravanning for a length of time work on the policy that if you go away and you don't use something,
Yep.
don't take it next time.
Yeah, yeah,
So you start to get very minimalistic
yeah.
in what you take.
Yeah,
So clothes, you need one on and one off.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe 3 sets of undies and that's about it. So
Yeah,
you start to look at, do I really need
yeah.
10 sets of crockery because you're only feeding 4 people?
Exactly.
So why do you need 10?
Yeah,
Some people answer, oh, well, what if the neighbours come over for dinner that night? Well,
Yeah.
they bring their own. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of camping, because then they do their own
BYO.
washing up.
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
One couple had 10 cartons of beer in the back.
Oh wow.
So I don't want to be rude, but how much do you drink? And it was half a dozen cans a week was the response. Well, so there's 50 kilos of your problem to start with.
Yeah. Buy as you go.
Yeah, buy as you go. Look after the local communities. That's a very important part of looking after work going around Australia. That
Yeah,
local communities will bend over backwards to help you,
yeah.
but you've got to be helping them as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just go and check out the height first. So matching the height of the scale of the cart. Zero off and bring it down. Sometimes on these things I need to be careful that it doesn't slide off. Like that. Got your wheels floating. Good.
That's not a lot. Like, it's what I wanted. I wanted about 300, but
Yeah, around 300.
it means that we're over a fair bit in the car, I think, which is not good.
Okay, William, on the scale.
Jump on, bud.
Jump on here.
Okay, hold steady.
Wait.
14 kilos.
Woohoo!
Off you jump.
You've put some weight
Yeah,
on
just a
that.
minute.
You can leave.
On you get.
Okay, breathe quietly. 20 kilos.
Whoa, you're a big boy.
Okay, Brian, all aboard. I hope you're the heaviest, otherwise my scales might be wrong.
Me.
You are.
Yeah.
William thinks.
26.
Wow. Goodness gracious.
Okay, so I'll go around the numbers for a start. Axle group loading, so your front axles and rear axles allowed 1860, so your rear axle is 105 kilos overloaded. But your front axle's got 221 spare, so you need to find ways of moving some weight to the front axle from the back, and that basically means load distribution bars,
Oh, really?
which will pull weight from the back to the front. But at the same time, your car is 154 kilos overloaded, so if you solve that, then you solve that.
Yeah, right.
See what I mean? So your car's, if you can lose 154 kilos in the car, which isn't going to be easy. Okay, so going across the page, down here, gross combined mass is often one that the smaller tow vehicles fall foul of, and the twin cab utes particularly. But you've still got 690 kilos of spare room in your gross combined mass, so you're well within legal limits there. Towable mass is an advisory number of between 8 and 10%, and you're at 8%, so that's pretty well spot on. You've still got 57 kilos of spare on your tow ball, but your brake towing capacity is overloaded by 205 kilos, and your caravan's overloaded by 205 kilos. So again, solving that solves that. So that's the two biggest numbers to worry about. We've got two numbers here, gross trailer mass and aggregate trailer mass. The gross trailer mass is the caravan whilst it's hooked up to the car, and that's 262 kilos overloaded. The ATM is the aggregate trailer mass, which includes the tow ball, and that's 205 kilos overloaded. So the biggest number is the one you've got to work on. So you've got to find ways of dropping 260 kilos out of the caravan, as well as 150 kilos out of the car. So you've got to lose over 350 odd kilos,
Huge.
which is a big number. And it's a major challenge, obviously, travelling with a young family, because you've got a lot of extra bits and pieces that they need as they're going along, including their books, and toys and play equipment, and etc. So, whereas like as a couple, you can travel very frugally economically. You don't need to worry too much about things, but kids want all their home comforts
Exactly. Yeah.
at the same time. So it is a challenge. What I recommend you do is at this point that you put everything over the bathroom scales
Yeah.
and you weigh them.
Yeah.
Don't do a spreadsheet. Must have, might need, don't need.
Yeah.
And obviously eliminate the don't needs first, and
Yeah.
how many kilos you can save by doing that, you'll know.
Yeah.
And then start looking at the might needs and thinking, okay, seriously, is that really a might need or is it a don't need?
Yeah.
Because it
for
needs to be a don't need, otherwise you're not going to be travelling legally.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, the biggest issues of being overweight, obviously if heavies pick you up, they'll charge you with a fine, but that's minor. The biggest cost to that is that you'll probably need a tow truck to come and pick your caravan up from wherever it is, and if that's halfway up the Great Northern Highway with 300 k's to go before you get to a tow truck, that can be quite an expensive exercise. The other real danger area is insurance.
Yes.
But if you have an incident serious enough to destroy the caravan, it's odds on the insurance company will pick up the debris and weigh them.
Yeah. Okay.
And at that point, if they find you're overloaded, it's sorry, that's your fault, not mine.
Yeah.
So you've now written off the value of your car and your van, which again is a very expensive exercise.
It's your life, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's pretty important. I mean, the traps we're falling for is that cars and caravans aren't as good as they look at first look. The car manufacturer will sit right down to your twin cab utes will say, oh, this will tow 3.5 tonnes, which it will, provided you've got nothing in the car. That includes fuel and passengers. As soon as you start putting fuel and passengers in, you've got to reduce the load the caravan is. So it's a marketing number that has no real value to you and I. But unfortunately, you and I are buying tow vehicles based on that number.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's a risk. But think about it, let's say, I won't name brands, but a common twin cab ute has a gross combined mass of 6 tonnes, a car weight of 3.2 and a towing weight of 3.5. Right? You add the 3.5 to 3.2, you're now 700 kilos overloaded on your gross combined mass, even though you're legal on the other two. So it's a real misnomer. It cannot tow 3.5 tonnes.
No.
It looks like it might, but it can't.
Yeah.
There are some other interesting numbers that come out of the Caravan Industry Association that are worth considering, and you're in red for both of these, but the ideal towing weight is 75% of your legal towing weight, right? And you're at 106% of it.
Okay.
The ideal car to van ratio is less than 85%, and you're at 95%, so at the higher end of that scale. So they're interesting numbers to think of in terms of matching cars and caravans, sort of stuff. Now the Dodge Rams fit the bill. Unfortunately, the other little trap in there that I don't think this one applies, but a lot of the American imports come in with downgraded specs to match driver's licence. Right? As they leave the States arriving here, you need a rigid licence, truck licence to drive them.
Yeah. For the 2500 you do.
2500 you do. But they'll often downgrade at 2500 so you can drive it with a car licence, but then you've got no load capacity, so you might as well have a 1500 in the first place. That's a trap. In fact, the most overloaded vehicle I've ever weighed was a Chevy Silverado with a fifth wheeler. It was 1.5 tonnes overloaded. That's simply because they downgraded the licence specs. So fortunately he was able to go back to the licence department and have it re-rated back up to full specs. He had an HR licence, so that didn't worry him. Of course, the other minor issue that comes with that may affect some people is that once you're driving with an HR licence in those vehicles, you're limited to 100 kilometres an hour regardless of whether you're towing or not, which is a bit silly because you've got a massive great big V8 motor and a ute that'll do 200 kilometres an hour, and you're limited to 100. You're also limited to 0 alcohol, which is the same as the truck licence specifications. So having a drink after at the end of the day and still having a little bit of alcohol in the system the following morning is a no-no. So sobriety becomes a big issue. So there's a lot of little traps in there, and the danger of buying the wrong vehicle for towing the wrong caravan is that sales pitch that you can tow 3.5 tonnes for this vehicle.
That's why we didn't go a different vehicle actually.
The caravan manufacturers make similar sort of issues that they will say, okay, you subtract the ATM from the tier weight from the ATM will give you how much this caravan can carry. It sort of can, but the tier weight doesn't include gas, doesn't include gas bottles, doesn't include water, doesn't include the solar panels you've added to the roof. All those bits of extra fruit come off that capacity. So whilst it might look off the showroom floor as being able to carry 600 kilos of load, by the time you add water, gas bottles, solar panels, bike rack on the back, you start to run short of space.
Exactly. I've probably got too many books.
Well, they're the little mistakes that we make. I mean, paper is heavy, so obviously iPads and digital books are a really good way to overcome that part. Types of food you're carrying, like canned food, is expensive weight because it's liquid. Liquid weigh's heavier than dry food. So think in terms of dry food. Now, it doesn't have to be noodles every night, but because again, you're parked within walking distance for a grocery store most nights, so buying dinner is no big deal. And appreciate the local towns you're staying at, like your business.
Buy fresh.
And you're the reason that they're there. They can survive because caravanners are coming through and buying groceries. They cannot survive on the local industry, local population, because that's shrinking dramatically.
No, it's we've got no other choice looking at those numbers.
So drop everything down to absolute minimum, put it over the scales and subtract from those numbers.
What do you think of those public way bridges?
Okay, they will give you a total weight, but be aware of a couple of things. One is they're calibrated at 40 to 80 tonnes, not 3 to 4 tonnes. Like our scales are calibrated at 2 tonnes per pad. So we're calibrated by the kilo. Those scales also round up to the nearest 20 kilos. So in terms of being precise for what you're needing, they'll give you a good guide, but not perfect.
So whilst we got Rick here, we might as well ask him some questions that commonly come up. Whilst we were Wayne, you did mention why you got into this industry. Can you just tell us about that story that you were talking about?
I saw a story about an incident that occurred in the eastern states on the east coast where a chap towing a fairly big van with a Prado was overloaded and had an accident, resulting in 2 fatalities, and has destroyed his van and his car. So the end result was no insurance and 9 charges, including dangerous driving causing death, which is a 9-month jail term.
Yes, it's really not worth it. Just risking being overweight, not only financially but also could end in criminal charges. I think we went over this whilst we were in the vehicle. But what percentage of vehicles do you weigh that would be overweight? The
percentage that I weigh is around 38%.
Within limits.
Over the limit.
Over the limit,
around 38%. Now that's of the ones that are interested to find out, because the Victorian Department of Transport estimate that 68% of caravans on the road are overloaded. And that's based on their numbers, the ones they actually weigh. So,
but do you think that because someone who's actually coming to you is mindful of their weights, so that may affect?
They're conscious of weights, so they're conscious enough to find out. I've walked caravan parks and spoken to potential customers, obviously trying to sell my business and my job, but a large proportion of the people you talk to will say, I know I'm overloaded, but who gives a? Which is a really difficult attitude to have. It doesn't help anyone, including the people coming the other way. If something goes wrong, it can go wrong real quick. And you've only got to look at some of the YouTube videos of dash cam footage from trucks with caravans coming to grief to realise how quickly a caravan gets out of shape and falls over and destroys itself.
So Do you reckon the authorities have started to crack down on it as lately? Or?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. East Coast particularly, but our West Coast is doing a lot. And we know that I've spoken with our West Coast heavy haulage people and asked them the question about what are you doing about caravans. And their response was, look, if we've got a roadblock up, anything towing anything from a box trailer up to a road train will get pulled in. They have specifically targeted caravans on a couple of occasions that I'm aware of, and obviously many more, but the one I do know about is it was at Manili Roadhouse where they pulled over 22 vans and 12 of them needed tow trucks to cart them off the port heading.
Yeah, that's expensive in itself.
So the fine itself is relatively that's a minor inconvenience. It's a few $100, but having to get a tow truck down to tow you away and then figure out what you need to do to solve the problem, which in that case really is small van, bigger car, or both.
Yeah. So if people are looking to purchase a van or a vehicle, what should they be taking into consideration prior to the purchase?
Seriously looking at abiding by the 75% of your legal towing weight as being a target rather than maximum, rather than the minimum. So just because you couldn't tow 3.5 tonnes doesn't mean you should.
So do you reckon that's like one of the biggest misconceptions that people have when they're looking at vehicles? They look at the towing capacity rather than, say, the GCM?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they look at towing capacity. Towing capacity is the only number that most of them will look at. So where they're falling foul is things like they go out and shopping for a nice van, turns out to be a 3.5 tonne van because that's the one that's got the nice shower and the toilet and what have you in it. Then they look around for something to tow it with, which needs to have 3.5 tonne towing capacity. So often they'll aim for the twin cab ute scenario because yes, it does have 3.5 tonnes, but they forget that that's with absolutely nothing in the car.
Yeah. So do you think the vehicle industry and the caravan industry, do you reckon they could sort of pick up their game with making sure people are aware?
No doubt about that. Yeah. We have in Western Australia a couple of caravan sellers that I know are reputable like that and are ethical, and they will talk their customers out of particular vans if they don't think it's a match. And yeah, so there's a couple of them, but that's a couple out of quite a large number. There's a large number there after sales, and the numbers they quote are accurate numbers, but don't necessarily mean anything. Like the tear weight of a caravan has no value to anybody except the licensing department. Tear is absolutely naked as it left the factory with no gas bottles, no water, no solar panels. Sometimes doesn't include the washing machine that you added afterwards.
Yeah. So do you find that sometimes, with some manufacturers that they may say they've got a payload of say 400 or 500 kilos, but once those things are added, that their payload is pretty much you can put water in it.
Pretty well, that's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes even not water in it.
Yeah.
Now, by the time you add the gas bottles, the gas, the bike racks, the solar panels on the roof, a couple of extra batteries, and hang on the back of a car, and you're in trouble.
Yeah. So if you found yourself in that situation, is there anything that you could do to rectify the problem, or are you kind of stuck once you get to that point?
Some caravans have the ability to raise their ATMs to match their axle group loading. So a lot of caravan manufacturers they all buy their axles and chassis from a third party. And the third party specifies what that legal limit is on the axle assembly, and then they add the caravan on top of it. And sometimes, like in your case, your ATM is matching your axle group loading. But in other cases, it's 200 or 300 kilos higher than, in which case you can go to a licensing centre and have it re-rated for cost and inspection. And the same with tow cars. The reality is, whilst probably our most popular towing vehicles, and again I won't mention brands, but the most common one out there has only got a 610 kilo load capacity as it leaves the factory, and that's before you put fuel and passengers in it, and a bull bar and a tow bar, and then you hang a caravan on the back. So the only way to make those a viable towing vehicle is to do a suspension upgrade.
What are the biggest tripping points for people's setup with regards to weights? Where do most people get hung up on? I mean, obviously us today, we've gone over on everything.
I guess, not recognising that just because you've got cupboard space, you need to fill it up. And I know, I'm not being hard on females, but women will tend to look at a caravan and think, I can add everything in there. Put the mix master, the Kenwood chef, and the coffee maker, and all the kitchen fruit in it, but
If there's a space, you can
if
fill
there's a
it.
space, they'll fill it. So the reality is, no, you can't.
Yeah.
You need to be very, very economical with what you add to that caravan.
Yeah.
Economical in terms of the food you're carrying. Be prepared to buy food along the way and look after the local grocery store. Be prepared to buy alcohol along the way and look after the local hotel. Because there's no point in taking 10 cartons of beer,
Yeah.
because that's 40 kilos you don't need.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. All right. Well, we've got a bit of work on our hands to go through our van and set up. Thanks for your time, Rick.
That's right.
Appreciate it. It's put us on the right track to make sure that we're within legal limits and driving safely and all the rest of it. So, yeah, we'll get stuck into it.
I'm 34 to go. Where the heck is that coming from?
134 kilos.
Toys. Let's get rid of all the toys.
3175.
Oh, it's 25 kilos over.
Right.
Seriously.
It's going to be 3150.
But you're close.
Yeah.
You're probably close enough. I mean,
But I mean, we've got the bikes on the back, so
Yeah.
We had them last time. We took a couple off.
yep.
That's
Yeah.
just the kids' bikes now.
Yeah. But you said you're a lot closer now than what you were.
yeah, a lot closer.
So do you want to take bikes off now and do that, or do you want to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
does that mean you have to go back on the scale?
Yeah, if you go back, I'll zero off again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
And pull it back on again.
And we might take some toys out as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
What were we last time?
Last time we were, I think it was 3.6 something. Have you got the paper?
It's
We were 150 kilos over, so
3,440.
ooh, 10 kilos.
over.
No, 10 kilos under.
Under. Woohoo!
It's close.
You did it, John.
3,440. No, you've done well.
Yeah.
You've done well.
So we've dropped 160 kilos. Plus, because it was 100.
Wish it was easier losing weight than that.
Well, it hasn't been very easy.
Yeah.
So it's been a hard slog. Alright, so now we go do the toe ball weight.
Take her off. We'll do the
And
trouble
then
weight.
we'll go from there, see how we go.
112.
Great news, Rick.
We can leave tomorrow.
10 kilos under.
Under.
So we can put something in the boot.
No, doesn't work like that. Far out. Women, eh?
Oh yeah, excuse you. At least we can show the authorities, you know. We were over and then we spent ages pulling everything out, weighing it, and tried to do the right thing. Now we're under.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Yay, thank you.
You've done well.
Feel very happy about that. Feels like an achievement.
It's,
so.
well, it's a big achievement,
Yeah.
really. I mean, certainly
Well, it was 300 out of the van
Yep.
and 150 out of the car. So we are really good at losing weight.
Alright, so if people want to get a hold of you and use your services, what's the best way to do that?
website
Yep.
or phone.
Yeah, and the website is just Vanway.
Vanway.com.au.
Yeah.
Yep.
And your phone number's on the website.
429 080 444.
Yep, cool.
It's printed on the top of that sheet as well.
Perfect.
No worries.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Alright,
Great.
let's hit the road.
the road.